After touring the Tanana in our last episode, we continue on our journey north on the George Parks Highway, headed to our last big city of our epic journey, Fairbanks, on the final week of our visit to Alaska on our golden anniversary adventure. From Florida to Alaska, from the East Coast to the West Coast, join Jane and Steve celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, traveling across North America in the cool Nana Coach, their 27-foot Freedom Elite Class C motorhome, as they visit the many beautiful points of interest in all 50 United States on their golden anniversary adventure. The George Parks Highway, usually called simply the Parks Highway, runs 323 miles from the Glen Highway, 35 miles north of Anchorage, to Fairbanks in the Alaska interior. The highway, originally known as Alaska No. 3, the Anchorage to Fairbanks Highway, was completed in 1971 and given its current name in 1975 in honor of George Alexander Parks. Parks was a mining engineer from Colorado who came to Alaska in 1907 and became chief of Alaska Field Division of the Alaska General Land Office in 1919. In 1925, he was appointed governor of Alaska by President Calvin Coolidge. Today we take a ride to the famed Steamboat Landing. The Binkley family's steamboat tradition goes back over 100 years and 5 generations. In 1898, when Charles Binkley hiked over the Chilkoot Pass with other stampeders, he was not so much in search of gold as he was the chance to build and operate boats on the Yukon and its tributaries. We boarded the Discovery III Sternwheeler and proceeded south for a 3-hour cruise on the Chena River. We really had a gorgeous day. A tad cool, but beautiful clear sun-filled skies. And most of all, it was not raining. Rain has been a nearly daily occurrence for us since leaving Florida some 68 days ago. As the boat heads south, we pause to see a bush plane demonstration. Able to land and take off from a very short distance, these bush planes were the lifeline for transportation to the remote wilderness areas, as they were fitted with pontoons that enabled them to use the rivers as their runways. The Discovery III has an excellent public address system. We were able to hear the presentation nice and clear, and to our surprise, the system is integrated into the bush plane pilot's radio for an informative live interview between the captain of the Discovery and the bush plane pilot.
Easy too. I like to point out these big squishy tundra tires they use. Only inflated about 8 or 9 pounds of pressure. Real good for getting over uneven terrain, rocks, logs, neighbors' garbage, whatever might be in your way. But you won't find a runway everywhere you go in our state. What you will find, however, is a lot of water. Because Minnesota, hey, I love your license plate, but we have over 3 million lakes in Alaska. Make sure these other boats are cleared out of the way, and they're going to go ahead and turn around here. And it's a good time for me to remind you folks that you don't have to stay glued to that seat you're in. You're welcome to move around the boat, but keep in mind that if you're standing by a railing or window, you might block someone else's view, so try to keep each other honest on that. You'll get a really good view of that plane as they come towards us here. Once 8A Zulu kind of feels like they've got enough clearance, they'll turn themselves around, fire up that 160 horsepower Lycoming engine. Alright, it looks like 8A Zulu's got enough runway. So I know it kind of looks like he's heading towards us, but don't worry, you don't have to duck if you're sitting towards the front. Because as you can see from that wake, he barely needs a couple hundred feet of river in order to take off. So it's important to kind of lean over and make sure you've got a good visual idea of where it is you're going to land. You get to line up with it quickly, but while they're descending, they actually reduce their forward airspeed. And then, as soon as you get over these trees, you can kind of just drop down and over the river, because you don't always have the space to make a nice gradual descent. And because they're going so slow, they're just kind of coasting at this point and hanging out to dry right here over the river. Can't actually see the water, just going off years of instinct and feel. And sure, you bounce a little bit on the landing, but this is Alaska. Anything you can walk away from is a 10. And we have a lot of very talented pilots up here, folks. 1 in 78 Alaskans is actually licensed to fly. It's more per capita than anywhere else on the planet. And I'd like for you to get a chance to meet our pilot over here. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off the microphone so you can listen into the radio chatter with them and Captain Maddie.
Discovery 3 calling 88 Zulu. Chris, thanks so much for coming down today. It's a gorgeous day we have. How's the air up there?
Oh, it's just gorgeous today. Just too much fun with the beautiful blue skies. We've been missing this, sort of.
Yes, I think this is probably the best July day we've had so far. Would you mind telling our folks a little bit about how you got into aviation and flying?
Sure, yeah. I started flying about 30 years ago back in Iowa when I was in college, and let me tell you, flying in Iowa with square mile roads in every direction is much different than flying here in Alaska. Been flying here in Alaska for about 10 years now.
After the bush plane demonstration, we proceeded further south and paused briefly near the late three-time Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race winner Susan Butcher's Kennels and Dog Sled Training Facility. Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race is a grueling 1,112-mile race through Arctic blizzard conditions across the Alaska wilderness.
Wear those adult harnesses and pull the sled comfortably. So we're waiting for their first winter to do that. But most importantly, we are waiting to make sure that the instinct to pull has kicked in. These Alaskan Huskies love what they do, and we want to foster that love of running throughout their entire lives. So again, we'll use those older dogs they're already familiar with. Hook up 2 well-run adult lead dogs out in front of the team and 4 to 6 puppies behind them. And it's so instinctive for these dogs to want to pull that all we have to do is give the adults the forward command. They'll take off running down the trail, the little puppies will follow, and within just a few minutes, it looks like we have a small adult team of dogs.
Yeah, it's just a shame these dogs aren't more excited about this. Alright, she gives them the command, alright, and away they go. And notice, folks, how much quieter it just got. Right? All that energy and enthusiasm converts right into dog power. She's going to do a quick U-turn here. You'll see her again on the far end of this dog yard, coming from right to left, out from behind the cabin that her mother and father built together. You see them picking up speed as they go here. Every other dog in the yard freaking out. Hey, wait, pick me, I want to go. But you don't have to worry. Keep your eyes peeled at the far end of the lake here, at the base of those tall trees, because the rest of this trail cuts directly across there.
Well, here we are, coming out of the trees on the other side of the lake, and these dogs are really flying. It's so impressive that they can carry me and the four-wheeler. Together we weigh about 400 pounds and still be going at 20 miles per hour. Now up ahead, I'm going to give my lead dog a left-hand command, but I'll give you a call on the way back.
So you hear that ha command, that's for left. G is for right. And those commands actually come from driving mules on a farm. But you'll notice she didn't have any bits in their teeth. There's no reins at their back. She doesn't have any physical means of controlling that team. It's all that trust and be trusted relationship they work so hard to forge so that the dogs will listen. Other commands include hike or all right to get them started, and then whoa to stop, but like she mentioned, they don't like that one too much.
Well, we made that turn beautifully, and now we're on the homeward stretch. That's when they really kick it into gear to get us home. Like any endurance athlete or marathon runner, these Alaskan Huskies know that they need to save energy in reserve, so that at the end of a race, they can pass competitors in front of them and keep those other competitors behind them.
It looks like Tekla's coming in for the end of her run here. I'll tell you what, the dogs seem like they're really on fire this afternoon. I just gotta hope the brakes hold on that four-wheeler. Alright. And after skidding to a stop, another fantastic run this afternoon from Tekla.
Well, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. And after every training run, we like to go up and down the line and give every dog a pat on the head to let them know we appreciate their hard work.
Well, of course, and then everyone wants to play around for a little bit. I guess on a day like today, dropping the pool to cool off.
Following the Sled Dog Demonstration, we continued south to see the confluence of the Chena and Tanana rivers, where we turned back north and stopped off and disembarked to visit the Chena Village. To give visitors a taste of what life in the wilderness of Alaska was, the Brinkleys developed this authentic Alaskan village with the assistance and expertise of famed Alaskan trapper and woodsman Bob Hart. Bob was born in 1951 in New Jersey and in the early 1970s headed north to Alaska to experience the rugged lifestyle he had read about and dreamed about for many years. He built a cabin in the extreme wilderness of the Brooks Range and established a trap line there over 150 miles north of the Arctic Circle. He lived in the extreme backcountry for over 40 years and in the off-season would travel to Fairbanks for summer work. He started working for the Binkley family in the early 1980s, and with his woodworking and cabin building skills, he helped develop the Chena Village. Like the cabin on his trapline, he built many of the structures in the village, completely from materials found on site. Hart was featured in a documentary, The Last Alaskans, where he shared his incredible, unique, and challenging lifestyle. Just like the cabins he built, Bob's memory will live on in Chena Village for decades to come. The village features native Alaskans who demonstrate catching and processing salmon, a traditional fish wheel, live moose, elk, and reindeer, trapping and how to use the furs to make traditional clothing and footwear, as well as an authentic wilderness trading post and wilderness cabins. Visitors also got a chance to see the famed butcher sled dogs up close and personal. Afterwards, we boarded Discovery 3 and continued back north to where our journey began 3 hours earlier at Steamboat Landing.